good morning and welcome. This is Tampahometalk, and this is our Halloween edition, like no other. You have to see Adam Talley.
It's me. I'm a Luigi.
We're going to post a picture of him on Tampahometalk, and I think you will agree. I had to totally touch it to see if it was real.
Post a picture?
Post a picture of Adam Talley.
I'm going to do this. They can't see me on the radio, but I'm doing That's the right. Italian hands today.
And if they're watching Facebook Live, they can see it.
So Adam, what are you going to do for No Shave November? You already have the mustache in.
I will have to grow back out, man. We'll see.
So you're going to shave to not shave?
Yes.
No, I think you should just not shave.
You gotta go clean, to start November and then.
No, I think you should just. I think you should just leave it in and just.
But just the mustache.
No, grow the
whole thing.
Grow the whole thing in, but just start with the mustache so we can get the bushy mustache by the end of the month.
Leo with the scruffle on the face.
I always have.
My husband looks like a straight up homeless guy, like big old long gray beard. He looks awful.
Andrea is not a fan.
I bet. I can't. I'm with her on that, sister. I tell you.
It just looks so good. How can you not have one right now?
I actually went to a wedding one year where the whole wedding party grew out beards to shave to mustaches to freak out the groom the day before.
Yes.
It was a good time. It was a great time.
Well, this is Tampahometalk, and I'm your host, Katrina Madewell, joined by my sidekicks, Leo King with Burial Engineering and Inspections.
Yes.
And Adam Talley, or a.k.a. Luigi, for today's show, with Talley Insurance. We're also joined by our guest, so Dave Bass. Is it Paranormal Research or Dark Star Paranormal Research? Yeah?
Dark Star Paranormal Research.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And then also Angelique Gill. She's with Keller Williams, one of my sidekicks at the office. And I'll tell you that story. And while she's here, although she'll probably want to tell her own version of it and spin it a little bit, and we'll have some fun. So we're going to talk all about... It's a Halloween edition, right? So paranormal activity, all that sort of fun stuff. And we're going to jump into the numbers. Before we do, just one thing worth mentioning, because Anjali's one of my fellow Tessie girls. Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. Elon Musk is officially the owner.
Oh, is he?
$44 billion later of Twitter. Did you guys see the tweet yesterday by chance?
I don't use Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just tell you. I'll tell you and our listeners. It's so fun. So he takes a picture of himself, or someone does, with, him carrying a sink into the Twitter headquarters. And he takes a picture that says, yeah, Elon Musk is walking into the Twitter headquarters. Let that sink in.
I didn't know you could do pictures with Twitter. I thought it was just...
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like 140 characters.
Used to be only 140 characters. Now you can picture and mini video and all that sort of stuff.
So it's Instagram.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's still Twitter. It's still Twitter.
I still don't use it.
Yeah, neither do I.
It's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
I don't TikTok either.
My husband's addicted to TikTok.
I just use Disc and Twitch.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
okay,
all right.
Halloween edition, spookiest house you've walked
into. And we're going to go over the numbers before we do that. So just wait. We're going to dive in. All right, Mr. Leo, your favorite part of the show. Take it away. Let's share our new listings. This is a 7-day trend. 3 counties, single-family homes only. And this is the activity in the market.
We've been pretty steady for the last 3 weeks. I would say we're right around 800 new listings. That's pretty steady, and I like to see the stabilization. We've come a long way from the low of 400 new listings at the end of September. So price decreases are still very, very steady. It was amazing. Like right after Hurricane Ian passed,
boom.
It was like they doubled to over 1,000 price decreases, and we're still there. So we're getting these new listings. We're getting a bunch of price decreases. What is interesting to note is that as the new listing numbers increase, the price decreases decrease.
Yes.
Why is that? You'd think that if the number of new listings increases, we would have an increase in the decreases.
I think, with some of the stuff that I'm seeing, and certainly, Anjali, you can chime in on some of this, but I think some sellers have an idea in their head of what they think is still going on in the market. Absolutely. And what they think the actual, current state of the market is. And you have to keep in mind, I was explaining this to a buyer last night in a consultation. After the housing crash, we had an extreme buyer's market. Extreme buyer's market in terms of absorption rate. We were over a 24-month supply of homes. That's 2 years. So that means if all the buyers in the market bought all the homes on the market, it would take 2 years to sell them, right? Then after COVID, and as early as the first quarter of this year, we were literally in an extreme seller's market, like I've never seen in 31 years. And our absorption rate, you guys saw it. We were looking at this when we were reporting the numbers, less than 2 weeks. I mean, there was a point when we were down to like a 1 week absorption rate.
That was just insane.
So, and you saw in the inspection world, everything was selling.
Yeah,
Everything,
I mean,
no matter what.
It was to the point where people weren't getting home inspections to see if they wanted the house or not. They were just getting home inspections to see what they were left with. And a lot of times they were just doing it to do a checkbox, because it was like 3 or 4 months after they move in, they'd give us a call. Hey, this is broken, you missed this. This is broken, you missed that. And we're looking at the home inspection report.
No, we didn't.
And I'm like, did you read the report? I mean, how do you tell someone, did you read the report? And every one of them, they're like, no, we didn't read the report because we just needed the house.
Like, that's kind of why we did it. But
Yeah.
aside from that, we're quickly moving into a balanced market. So a balanced market, historically speaking, has always been a 6 to 12 month supply of homes. There's a lot of stuff saying that's going to be closer to 4 months. Well, we're there. I feel like we're still in a seller's market, but we're moving very much towards a balanced
You think
market.
you have to be realistic, though, if you're a seller, right?
Well, so think about it. In a balanced market, for anybody that's been around for any period of time, your house is not going to sell in 5 minutes, right? And you've got to price it right. And it may take several months to move it, especially if it's the higher end of the price range, right? It's going to take, you host luxury calls.
Absolutely.
All the time. What's the time frame right now for luxury properties to move?
Well, luxury has definitely gone up a lot more. It used to be, when you were talking about, the 2 weeks for the regular homes, luxury was then up to about a month, which was unheard of. It's now more like
definitely
5 or
unheard of.
6 months.
Yeah.
And I think the price decreases that you're seeing are homes that have been sitting there for a while.
Definitely.
And those are the ones that were, that we call them PFA pricing. That's called plucked from air numbers.
Got it.
I like that. That's a bad joke that I would
I'm going
come
to
at.
use that. That's a good one.
PFA
Yeah.
pricing.
So I think that was all PFA'd. And now they've realized that, the market is getting more rational and sensible. And so we're seeing
Well, on the
price
luxury
decreases.
properties, they take longer to move, and
absolutely.
Always.
we're looking
Always.
at higher rates. So, I mean, that has
Yeah.
a big impact on what people are and are not doing in financing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a big deal in the entry level price point. It's a really big deal when you start climbing over $1 million, right?
yes.
Is that the cutoff for luxuries over $1 million?
No, it's probably what, $750 in
our
our area.
In our market, it's about $750.
Okay.
Yeah.
It depends from market to market.
Gotcha.
Yeah, every market's different. Obviously, if you go to San Francisco, it is not, you'll be buying
That'll
a
get
little
you a
shack.
tiny little one bedroom.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
On the bottom of the hill.
Right.
Yeah.
So luxury in our area is in the 700s where
Okay.
it starts.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Well, I feel like I'm luxury then.
yeah, you might be. You might be in your Ybor City little bungalow.
I'm joking. So I found it interesting that you said that we're entering a balanced market. When I look at the new listings and pending, they're about even.
Keep in mind,
Is that
this is a 7-day trend.
is that it? Well, this is actually a 3-week trend at this point,
Right, but it's only week by week by week new stuff that hits.
and new stuff that goes pending.
Yeah, so if you look at like for example, the September numbers, you get that better picture of.
No, I'm in October though. I'm month to month.
I know.
Our benefit of this show is we look at the raw data up front. We analyze it for you, so you're not lagging. I mean, if you looked
We
at
do.
September
Yeah.
numbers versus October, I'm seeing a very uniform picture in
It's pretty consistent,
October.
yeah.
Every single week, we have about the same number of new listings that we do pendings, and they've
Well-
all been right around 800 on both sides of that table.
Next week, when we're back in the studio, it's going to be November, right?
Yes, it'll
Yes.
be
All of us have birthdays in November.
and no more
happy
pumpkin
birthday.
spice lattes.
Yeah,
ever
Adam's
again.
first, I'm next, and then Leo. And basically, it's also election year. So my birthday usually always falls on election, mostly. So I'm
Yeah.
on election day this year.
Are you your election day this year?
Yeah, normally I do, but sometimes it's like a one-off, and it's around election
And we want to
day.
remind our voters out there to vote often and vote early.
Yes.
Or vote early and vote often.
So the point is, this particular election cycle, I think, is going to have a lot to do with what happens in the market, including the housing market, which has a lot to do with the rates. And the feds, I think, are going to have 2 more rate hikes this year before it's over.
Well,
75 basis points
we already
apiece.
know how the elections are going to turn out because
Oh, you
I
do?
listen to other radio shows on this station, and they already told me.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
See what they're predicting.
We will see. It's good. It's like right around the corner in no time at all. We're going to get to find out. So, all right. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm going to give you our off-air number when we come back. We are so excited to talk about the paranormal activity, the ghost stories, and more.
And more.
And more. We have some really cool stuff to share. And when Anjali starts talking and telling some of her stories, you'll know why I invited her on this show. It's going to be a great episode. And if you'd like to chime in, you can. I'm going to give our off-air number right now, 813-377-2775.
To your spooky home of Tampahometalk. We are here with the 813-377-2775.
That's our off-air number.
That's 813-377-2775. Now I've got your spooky tip of the week.
Spooky tip.
Spooky tip of the week. Should I recommend that you should spray all your candy with Lysol to prevent the COVIDs?
I hope this relates to paranormal activity or something Halloween-y.
Oh, I thought you were just... So I shouldn't tell them about spraying the candy with Lysol.
No, let's not do that.
Let's not do that at all. How about Glade?
No.
Okay, we don't recommend you spray your candy with anything.
Be the house that gives out full-size candy bars. Do that.
Or my house, the one that gives over the semi-rotting vegetables, because my wife buys too many vegetables.
You're gonna get egged.
I'm full of bed. So
do you even get trick-or-treaters where you're at?
We do. In all seriousness, those bad tips of the week are just spooky tips, and you can occasionally get spooky advice and bad advice from people you listen to on the radio. So your tip of the week is to fact check anything that you were told on the radio.
Yeah, that's true. Or if you don't Google for that matter.
Do not drink bleach. Do not spray your candy with Lysol, and do not give rotting.
What kind of nonsense are you bringing? You're supposed to bring a real Have you ever seen any paranormal stuff doing a home inspection?
Well, yeah.
Well, why not talk about that?
I mean, we've been in several houses that creak.
Is that a material defect?
Well, if it's a double murder-suicide house, that could be considered a material defect. But
nope.
How would we see it unless the evidence hadn't been cleaned up?
Good point.
Well, we tried to invite the crime scene cleanup guys back on, but they were busy.
Although those people are epically awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome. So, what's your tip with the creaky boards?
I don't really have a tip on how to get rid of ghosts except to call a ghost hunter or a paranormal researcher.
So that's a really good inspection tip, right? Oftentimes there's creaky boards, second floor on the stairs.
Yeah.
What do you say about that on the inspection?
This old house?
House old.
Oh, really?
That's it?
That's all you got?
This is all I got is this old house. I mean, creaky boards could be from any one of a number of things. It could be this old house, could be a nail that started to back out, could be some lack of maintenance, could be termites have eaten the whole board through. Could be the next person that walks on it could step right through and fall into the crawl space.
Yeah, there's that. All right. Off-air number, 813-377-2775.
I'm sorry. In the realm of engineering, we just don't have any advice on what to do when your house is haunted.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I was talking about the creaky boards, but never mind.
The creaky boards.
You messed it all up.
You walk on a creaky board, it creaks. This old house. I live in a 100-year-old house. You know how many places creak in my house?
Everything creaks in your house.
Everything.
I'm surprised I haven't fallen through the floor
Give
yet.
him a couple of years, he'll be creaking too.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, I creak in my house.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's roll on over to David Bass. And it's Dark Store Paranormal Research. So talk a little bit about what you guys do, how you got your name, and it's the perfect time of year to invite you in as a guest.
Cool, thanks. Let's see, for the name, Dark Star basically is a black hole. And I'm like, everything about a black hole is theoretical. We have no real evidence. I mean, there's theories and speculations.
Which is actually in my list today of myths, which we're going to chat about soon. So talk about it. When you guys go, who are your customers? Who calls you guys to say, hey, I think there's ghost or paranormal activity or whatever people say when they call? What's your connections like with your clients?
With the clients, it's usually really good. I mean, they'll call and say, hey, there's something strange going on in my house. We want you to come, figure out what it is. Most of the people want us to get rid of it.
How do you get rid of it?
A vacuum cleaner?
Yep. We'll do a spiritual house cleansing.
Okay.
And then
what's involved in that?
We have a Well, like you see the people who do the Native American way, they use sage. Well, we use a different blend because we have learned that sage is really not beneficial. It kind of causes things to pick up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the paranormal activity kind of freaks when they're sage?
Yep.
So
Really?
sage doesn't get it away; it brings it.
It just
Stirs it.
It just intensifies what you're doing.
Intensifies it?
Yep.
Wow.
Wait, so should I stop
I
rubbing
just learned.
sage on my pork chops?
Probably.
No, you
So-
should because it
so
intensifies
let
it.
me-
The flavor is good.
All seriousness, what kind of calls do you get? People say what? Like stuff is moving around in the house, lights are flickering. Like what kind of calls do you get?
Exactly what you just said, and then we're seeing shadows or we're hearing noises. I left my keys in one room, got up, they're in another room.
So stuff moving around.
And
And is this
my
usually
wife
after
does that.
someone buys a house? Is that usually when they call you after someone's bought the house?
No, actually,
Or it's a while?
Yeah, they've been there for a while.
What's a while usually before they call you?
Usually, the ones that like are renters or new buyers, it's usually around a year and a half. I guess they try to blow it off.
Interesting. Is it mostly old houses that you go to, or is it like do you have newer houses? What's the age range on these houses?
There really isn't any age of the house. Really doesn't.
So you
make
could have
a
like a
difference.
new house that could have something.
Yes.
That's one of the myths too. We're going to talk about.
I think it would be more applicable to newer homes because if you had older homes, people would just say it's an old house. But if it's a new home, it shouldn't be doing that.
Good point.
Right. But-
So is it ever a thing where someone's like they feel like they need to protect themselves or they feel threatened at all from spirits?
Yes, we've had a couple that were like that. They were being touched or scratched and hair pulled,
Wow.
and they were like, "Just get rid of it. We don't care what it is. Just get it out of here."
So are you guys effective in being able to do it? And what do? So you go in, you bring equipment, I would imagine.
Yep.
What's that like? Who's the best person to talk about that too? Is that you or like who knows how it all works?
Well, we're a mixed combo here.
Okay.
She's a believer.
Okay.
She's a skeptic, and I'm right in the middle where I call myself a believing.
On
skeptic.
what? Like ghosts? Like if you see things or is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need all three to do what you do?
For us, we think so because it's a balanced team. Because you got the skeptic who brings, like the believer, they can actually come to a center point. Because I'm not saying she jumps to conclusions, but there are times you might say something and the skeptic goes, "I think it's this," and then we don't just automatically assume it's something. If we'll try to, we actually the thing is to disprove the paranormal,
Okay.
and then whatever's left.
Is there times that you guys go there and you're like, nah, it's just your ice maker or something funky like that?
Yeah,
Ice maker.
we've had some cases where.
I thought about that because I was staying at an Airbnb once and they had this guest book. And so they were talking all about the ghost in the house. And you look through it like several pages later, like, yeah, the ghost is just the ice maker. Unplug it, it won't do it.
Well, we've had people who just want the attention, thinking maybe we're going to get on a TV show.
Oh, okay.
And others, like you mentioned, a bed and breakfast. We did one where the owner was trying to sell it, so she wanted it to be haunted.
Okay.
So she kept calling in teams. She must have had 6 or 7 teams come in.
Trying to say, yeah, there's paranormal
She
activity.
wanted one team to say, yes, there's paranormal
Got it.
activity here, so she could jack the price up.
So tell me about that. So what do you
could
guys...
sell a haunted bed and breakfast?
Oh,
for
I'm
more
sure
money?
What was
thing,
it, like in
yeah.
Ybor or St. Augustine? Where's the
surprised it's
locale
more.
on that one?
Well, that one was actually in Kentucky.
Okay, so you guys go all over. You're not just local.
Well, my wife and I are originally from Kentucky,
Okay.
and I follow the work. So wherever the work is,
Where do you get the most calls in Tampa? Like, what location do you
Oh, we
has
were
the
just
most?
talking about
Yeah,
this
What's the
before the show.
spookiest area in Tampa?
What's the spookiest
It
area
is
in
not going to be
Tampa?
what you think. Take a guess before you tell them. Don't tell them. yet.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say South Tampa.
What's your guess?
Carrollwood.
Okay. Any guess?
Ybor.
Ybor? All right. Where do you get a lot of paranormal
The
calls?
vast majority of the cases we have are in like Valrico.
I was gonna
Really?
I was gonna do Riverview second, but I should have gone with my second
Rico.
choice.
Okay.
Never have guessed that.
All
I know.
right.
That's what I said.
Makes sense. That's where all the old burial grounds are.
But see, that's a person can be haunted, a house can be haunted, or the property can be haunted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, if you build a house on haunted property, then you're going to automatically assume your house is haunted. So, or even if you got a 100-year-old house,
That's true.
doesn't necessarily mean it's the house. It could be the property, or it could be the owner of the house.
So I know I've got a couple of stories to talk about that with regard to the haunted property and the house.
But if you're selling a haunted house and it's the person that's haunted, and the person leaves the house and the ghost leaves the house, you just took the value.
Interesting.
Correct.
So it's crazy to me that they actually
Interesting.
sell for more money if they're haunted, but apparently that's a thing. So
Call me a skeptic.
when we come back,
Or, yeah, and you
I
can
would
call
love
you
to
at
talk about.
813-377-2775.
Text skeptic to 813-377.
So let's talk about
2775.
what you set up, like what the process is, what you do, and then like how long you're there typically, and then what you see. Like at what point do you determine, yeah, we've seen stuff, or no, we haven't. This is
Okay.
Tampa Home Talking. Stick around. We'll talk more about this when we come back.
Speaking of saying hey, welcome home. It's me.
is
I'm
Tampa.
a Luigi.
So no, actually, we're debating
You
whether or
missed
not
it.
Adam is going to be a 1970s New
Cop.
York police officer or Luigi.
There's also another one that's probably not appropriate for the air. We'll table that.
What, the California Highway Patrol, like
Wasn't
the
it?
motorcycle patrol?
Keep going.
I
Keep
know.
moving.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Keep it moving.
Every trucker has a favorite truck stop kind of place.
What's your insurance tip of the week? That's where we are.
My insurance tip of the week, kind of related to these sellers, these people that are having all these price decreases, probably are going to start getting into a time period where you may want to get that inspection before you put the house
The
on
regular
market.
inspection. Oh, yeah.
Or at least a 4-point to know what is needed to pass, right? Because that could be a big negotiating chip for you, as opposed to the opposite, where you might think your house is great, then you have a bunch of problems on a 4-point. Nobody can get insurance, or they can't get any insurance that's less than like $8,000.
We had one
And-
that barrel inspected yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess express on the 4-point.
Yeah, I mean, talk about spooky. I've seen some real spooky things on inspections. And people are like, I can get insurance with this, right? I'm like,
No.
No,
Not
no,
today.
no.
Not in today's
No.
market.
Find somebody else, not here.
Speaking of spooky, the latest insurance company to die, I heard, was FedNat. They're in receivership as of this week.
I haven't gotten anything specific on them. I think
No, they're definitely. I got it yesterday.
got it yesterday?
FedNat is the next casualty in this spooky season of insurance.
they had already started anyways, though, because they started shifting things over to Monarch. And then back in June, was it June? It was either May or June. They did a huge, just dump of policies, did midterm cancellations and the like. So that's not super surprising.
But it happened.
It
And it happened this week, and it's spooky.
It is
I think
spooky.
my insurance went up too, didn't it? Like on the building? I think it
Commercial
did.
insurance is
It's up a lot.
commercial insurance is actually getting pretty
I
expensive.
feel like it's like
as well.
$1,000 higher than last year.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's hard to find people that'll write the wind. You know, I had one where we had a client and they own a lessor's risk, right? So it's just a building that they lease to other people, and they were a week late on calling me back. and tried to call them, they're out of the country, whatever. So I couldn't get a hold of them. My phone doesn't work in China.
That's another
and-
spooky story from Adam
and
Talley.
so they got to me when they got back. I'm like, okay, let's see. Current carrier wouldn't take it,
Oof.
even though it was a week late.
I believe it. They don't want to insure anything right now.
That carrier stopped writing wind, so it's just another way to get off a policy. So pay your premiums on time. It's very important. Now, If you have a mortgage company, obviously they're
going to make sure get escrow your payment on time.
They get a grace period, but if you pay for something on your own,
they get a grace period.
They get a grace period. We don't. They're assuming
All
you're
right.
paying your mortgage, and
Yeah.
it's their fault, not yours.
So, Katrina, you had this backwards. You asked me to tell a scary story, and I couldn't. But you asked Adam to tell a good tip of the week, and he gave us 3 to 4 zingers.
You're right. It was no good. He definitely should have been a little more scary with insurance.
No, he was very scary.
But I
with
think the insurance market's scary enough. You don't need to add anything else to it.
You want to be scared? Look at your renewals next year.
There you
that
go.
was plenty of scary for you.
All right, so let's go back to paranormal. So you get this call.
Scared
Someone
yet?
says stuff's moving around. I see light switches. Is there anything in my house? What do you guys do?
Well, yeah, I'm Janelle High, case manager really for Dark Star. So when people call, that will connect through our webpage and stuff, it gives me an opportunity to give them a call and have a chat with them. And I'm asking sort of what experiences they've had, how long has that been happening to them, how it makes them feel, really getting an idea of what's going on in the property.
And you're the skeptic.
I am
Right.
very much a skeptic.
Okay.
Yes. So at
So
this
have you
stage-
actually seen anything?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Loads of stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know what that stuff is. That's what
Okay.
I'm investigating. So, other people, and I recognise some of the worries that they have in their homes when they talk about, I'm worried, I'm scared, I can't sleep well, I'm not settling here. And that's something where we want to come in and help them out with that. But it's the initial call really, and possibly a follow-up call is all about gathering information.
So
those sorts of things.
what do you guys do? Like, is there a cost if you go out there? Is it part of what you do? Like, how does it work?
We don't charge anybody anything, no. So we'll just go because a lot of the people, they are really happy that somebody's listening to them and taking them seriously. And, they're really happy when we talk about, well, perhaps we can come out, take a look, and we'll arrange that with you.
So are you bringing equipment with you to...
We have all sorts of equipment, and what I find it, for me anyway, as a skeptic, the thing I like the most is just how I feel. What can I see? What can I feel? And does it actually tally with the people and their experiences? Am I having the same sort of things happen to me that they've recorded in their home? But David, he's got a lot of technical equipment. He's the tech guy.
Got it.
Yeah, he comes in. But we've got our cameras, our phones rather, and we can record on that and take photos.
Do you catch anything on the phone?
I have done, yeah, in a place in the UK actually when I was looking through there, some old tunnels that had been used in World War II, and there'd been reports of seeing a mist. But it's very, very dark down there, and I would take 2 pictures on my camera immediately after each other, and one picture caught some sort of mist in a strange shape. Then the second photo, which I took immediately after, it had moved about 2 or 3 yards to the right. But of course, I don't know what that was. It's got to be put down. Well, I don't know. That's the joy of it.
I have a question for you. So I give you a call. Hey, weird crap's happening in the house. How long and you come over? How long does it take you guys on average to from getting there to finding something? Obviously, there's times where you see it right away, and there's outliers on both sides.
Yeah.
But what's that like?
There's a lot of properties.
What's that process look like?
For me, I know immediately as soon as I walk in that property if there is something there or not. I will know. I might not know what that is, but I can feel it
How
immediately.
we doing in this building right now? We okay?
No, I haven't felt anything in
Okay,
here.
just checking.
Apart from you wonderful people.
I would be like...
Gotta ask, right?
Yeah.
No insurance for ghosts, by the way.
But then
folks.
we just take the time to walk around and absorb and just sit there and see what we can feel. But a lot of the times there really isn't anything there. But I must say that the first visit can be quite dull. If you revisit places and there is activity, you do seem to get a lot more back the second and third and subsequent times.
With the sage, right? Getting them all agitated.
I already I texted my wife on break to throw out all our sage.
Oh, I'm going to my house with sage later. I'm gonna figure this out.
So I'm gonna have to share this story, and I would love for you guys to ping on it, and we'll talk a little bit back and forth. But so Anjali, myself, and another gal, Yael, we all decided we're gonna get a room together one night when we go down to South Florida Mastermind because it was a little drive. So we drove down the day before, stayed the night, and then got up the next day, went to the event, came home. So I don't even know how we got started on that. We're getting ready for bed.
We were getting ready for. Hi, I'm Anjali, and we
started talking about ghosts.
Welcome back, Ann.
Ghosts.
Thank you.
How did we even get on that? Do you remember?
started it.
How did I start it?
You were like, "Oh, it's time to go to bed." Anyone got any interesting ghost stories?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I was like, I got this bag of marshmallows, chocolate, and
Yeah.
graham crackers. Who's got a ghost story?
I don't remember how we got on
My
that.
mom's going
I
to
don't
bring us
feel-
ice cream later.
Yeah, she's like, I don't really want to go to bed right now, so keep me awake, someone. No, so you asked
That's
for
what
ghost
the
stories.
hotel bar is for.
So somehow we started talking about it. I don't remember asking it, but apparently I did.
You did, and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I've got a ton of them. But
No, I think Yale brought
was
it
it
up.
Yale? It was
I
one-
think she brought it up,
Yeah,
and
I know, I
somehow.
know.
So it's been brought up. Now
So
let's
she started talking about it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I've had a couple of ghost encounters.
So
like most of them were when I was younger.
let's
And
hear
Anjali goes, oh, you got nothing on me.
Let's-
She's like,
give us a zinger. Let's see what you got.
well, I've got quite a few.
it's
the way,
been
I
more
mean,
than
I can, by
one.
the way.
It's not one
I just
time.
noticed the earrings are very nice. She has candy corn earrings.
She
though.
does, not ghost.
Not ghosts. Anyways, back to ghosts. Back to ghosts. Squirrel.
You're so
Squirrel,
distractible.
yes.
Yes.
Well, I've got quite a few actually. I could go on and on. I've seen them. They've got a very distinct smell when there's a ghost around. I don't know if you guys have experienced that.
Have you? Because I was like,
No, not
felt weird.
a smell.
She's smelled it. Yeah, sometimes
Oh
you
yeah,
have.
there's a very distinct smell to them, and so one of the most lingering ones was when I was studying for my MBA. We were living in this house, which
What city?
This is in India.
Okay.
In a city called Hyderabad that you may or may not know of. And we were told the house was very unlucky, it was haunted, and that the lady in the house normally dies. There's a curse on the house.
So whoever the woman is that's living in the house at that time will die.
Yeah, so so
It's a big curse.
it is.
That's
and
not going to
That's
raise property
fun.
values.
Yeah.
No, and I was brought up good Catholic girl and all that, not allowed to believe in stuff like that. So we didn't. Our dog died, and this lady happened to come by and said, "How's the lady in the house doing? Is she okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Is she still alive?" I was like, "That's a strange question." And we were like, "Yes, she is." As it so happens, she said, "Has anyone died?" So we said, "Yeah, our dog died." "Was it a female?" "Yes." So she said she took the curse of the family.
Oh, your poor dog got it.
Yeah, well, hey, much rather my poor dog.
Right.
But as it so happens, that wasn't the end of it. So in my room, I would sit, because I was studying for my MBA, I'd sit all night and study, and I could feel these things behind me, and I could hear these voices behind me. And it used to scare the life out of me, because you're trying to study. It's 3 a.m. and everyone's asleep, and you've got all these voices happening. And there was this place between my bed and the closet that if you walked there, it was like about 4 degrees cooler. And that's where the voices came from all the time. So I tried telling my parents about it, and they were, skeptics. And they're like, "No, nothing. You just don't want to study, that's all." And I'm like, "No, I promise you, there's stuff going on." So
It's a weird house, Mom.
Yeah. I'm like, "No, there is stuff going on." And they were like, "Nah, nothing." So it finally reached a stage where I told them, I said, "Okay, I'm moving out of this house. I'm going to go stay with someone else if you are not going to get this seen to." So my father went to this priest who was an exorcist as well. And he said, "I want you to, come and pray in my house." He goes, "Yeah, your daughter has a problem. There's a ghost in your house, a spirit that's haunting your house." And that totally freaked my dad out, because he hadn't told him anything. He says, "Yeah, I know exactly where it is. Tell her on so-and-so day at so-and-so time to pray this verse from the Bible, and I will come and visit your house." And he did. And he walked in, and he just sat down, and he said, "That's the room, right?" And he pointed to my room. He walked in to my room, and he pointed right there, and he goes, "That's the spot, isn't it?" And turns out that is where the ghosts were. It was a couple that had been buried there, and the house was built
On top of them.
on top of them, and they haunted the place. He said a prayer and exorcised them. They went away. It was a rental. We moved out, and the people that moved in did not believe, and the ghosts came back, and they turned into really nasty what do you call them? Poltergeists.
Oh,
They started throwing things around the house. Like when I was there, I knew there were ghosts, but they wouldn't harm me. But when they came back, they started throwing things around.
right.
They were tripping people.
this is
We'll have to
Tampa
pick
Home
this
Talk.
back
Stick
up
around. There
after
is
the break.
more.
We gotta
We'll be
cut to
back
commercial.
right after
I'm all
this break.
spooked out.
Stick around.
I'm spooked. That song just always creeps me out. I remember growing up and watching that movie when I shouldn't have.
What movie is it? You know I don't know.
You don't know this movie?
I don't know the movie. What is it?
Adam?
Is this Friday the 13th? Or is this Halloween?
This is The Exorcist.
Oh,
Oh, it is? Yeah, I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch the Exorcist.
Yeah. Was that right,
That's
Pat?
very sad. That is very sad. They do not know this.
I don't know
I
it.
get goosebumps every
I
time
do.
I
I hear it too.
I've never
but
seen
I
The
watched
Exorcist.
Poltergeist. That was enough for
I
me
could
when I was
understand
a kid.
Katrina, miss. I don't watch any television or movies or anything historical or
Ever.
anything iconic ever. I can understand that. But Adam, that's a disappointment.
Scariest movie possible.
You already know what to
Scary.
expect from me, so it's not a surprise.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'll
Sorry,
watch it. I'll go
disappointed.
home. I got some homework. How about that?
Oh,
No,
that-
if you're watching it, no, that's it. He's going to watch it tonight. I was supposed to hang out with him tonight at a concert, but I guess that he's not going to make it to the concert after he watches that.
All right, so Anjali says, but wait, there's more, and the next one's better.
But wait,
Yeah,
there's more.
but wait, there's more.
Give it to us.
Yes.
What you got?
Well, so we were living in the Middle East, and we had this really nice apartment. And I always thought, ghosts haunted like a house because
Haunted house.
haunted house.
Yeah.
No, we were in an apartment on the second floor, and it was so you could feel there was this negative energy in a door leading to our bedroom. And I always felt it, you could just feel the energy right there. And I'd go to sleep at night and I'd wake up knowing that that door which was open was going to shut. And without fail, I'd open my eyes and look, and the damn thing would go creak and shut. And this went on for a while, and I'm like, okay, I'm imagining it. It was a dream, whatever. And I told my husband, and he's like, well, if it's bothering you so much, shut the door then. So I started shutting the door. And then I'd wake up, and I'd know the door's going to open. And this is, a door with a handle and stuff.
Squeaky, noisy handle.
No, it wasn't, but the door would open. I'd wake up, look at it, knowing the door was going to open, and it would open. And this went on for a while. And whenever I'd go to sleep, if I slept in the afternoon, when you go into a deep sleep, it's different, but in the afternoon, I'd feel like someone came and sat on the bed. When someone sits, there's a
You can feel
depression.
it push, yeah.
And I'd smell this, and I'd wake up, and there was nothing. One night, I woke up knowing there was something really, really wrong. And I could really smell it very strongly. And so I sleep on the right side, my husband on the left, and then there's the window beyond, which is, the curtains are open because I need light. I'm scared at this point, right? So I need all the street light coming in. And I look, and my husband's lying next to me, and there is this black thing on him.
So you saw something that's
strangling
wrong.
him. So I scream as loud as I can. And this thing just turns, looks at me, snarls at me, gets off my husband, jumps on me, jumps across, and goes into that door area. And my husband woke up. He was gagging. He was like,
Like gasping for air?
Yeah, he was. I could feel something choking me. What happened? And I could not stop trembling. For hours after that. And this thing went in there, and I was like, I'm not sleeping in this room anymore. So we slept in another room, which I would call the white room, because all the furniture there was white, and somehow the energy there was light. So then we asked this feng shui expert. So I've tried a priest, I've tried a feng shui expert, I've gone through all of that.
Well,
Now I've got to go through you.
They say it could be people, so maybe it's you.
Not anymore, I don't
Okay.
see it.
Okay.
Yes.
Did it come back?
So the feng shui expert, she was in another city, and she told me, she's like, there is something terribly wrong with your house. I'm going to come there. And she walked in, and she walked straight to that door, and she just stood there, and she put her hand in the doorway, held her hand out and said, there is this horrible spirit here. She's like, we need to cleanse it. She's like, there is so much. I don't know if I can cleanse it all, but you're moving out of this bedroom tonight, and you're going to slay. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps.
Oof. Me too.
You're going to stay in the other room.
I would have packed everything the next day. I'm just saying.
So she did a whole cleansing of the thing, and she's like, it lives right here. And she pointed to the very place that I kept saying, and I could see it. And she's like, sorry, this is a nasty spirit. And she chased it out from there. Shortly after that, this caused my husband and me to almost divorce.
Wow.
We would have fights over the stupidest, smallest things, which was just not like us. Our marriage was on the brink. And she's like, move out of this room, go to the other room, never sleep in this room again.
And it was better.
Overnight, our relationship healed. Everything changed.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I still think we're in a people as haunted category here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, I had my daughter about 18 years ago, and after that, I don't know whether I can't sense them as much or whatever, but I've just had one experience thereafter.
I told you mine when I was younger. I never saw anything as an adult. I was young. So it leads me to believe that children can see stuff that adults can't, right? She's shaking her head, yeah.
Sense.
The movie.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I
see dead people.
I don't watch TV, this
great
house,
movie.
and Dave was saying he lives in a house. There's a spirit there, but when I grew up, my grandparents lived in the same house for years, and there was this one house that people moved in and out of all the time. So it was called the Dunhill house because they lived there the longest amount of time. And then basically one day, I think I was selling Girl Scout cookies or something, and there was a door with the glass panes on each side, and I walk up to it. Ringing the door. I think someone already moved out again. The chain of title must have been like 2 miles long. And literally, I see this like white shadow. You can see dark spots in the eyes walking down the hallway, do like a 90-degree turn and start walking to the door like they're going to open it up. I ran. I was like, I'm gone. So I go home and I tell my mom about this, right, that I seen this, and I'm thinking she's going to think I'm crazy. She's like, oh, no. Yeah, so somebody got shot in that house when I was a kid, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then the house next door to it, it was like some domesticated thing between the neighbors, right? And that person actually like died on the doorstep, and there's bloodstains that would never come up. And so going back to what you guys were saying in terms of the land and the people in the house and all that stuff. So what my mom said was that someone, there was like an altercation of, it was like a husband and wife, and then one of them was a same-sex couple, and which was a big deal back then. So the one person that got shot meandered their way across the street to the woods. It was woods at that time, and basically ended up dying in the woods. And so later, houses were built, right, in that whole area. And so the one house, and I had no idea this until later, I had talked to the neighbors, and they're like, oh, yeah, we've definitely got something in our house. I'll put little soaps and things on the bathroom, and they'll be all moved around when we come back. Yeah, stuff like this. And so the one house still has a spirit today. It's in North Tampa, yeah. But the one ghost still lives there, like in the Dunhill house. It's never gone. And the people are fine with it, and they said the ghost is pretty calm, unless they were fighting with their teenage son, Nick, and then the ghost would get all stirred. So,
Wow.
We're already out of time. This was fun. This was so fun.
That was a quick one.
All right. We'll be back next week to talk about our veterans, and then don't miss our upcoming tax show with Mr. Mike Fasano with all these FAQs that we get, and we've got a lot of them over the years, especially as it relates to multi-gen housing. So stick around. We're going to get all those answered and more. Tampa Home Talk, love where you live, or we'll fix it. Welcome home.
He's a fun one.
Yeah.